Right, we've got a couple more days left. Let's get some work done. Let's see what Barney can fix, eh?
Right, second car today. We got a Jaguar X-Type. It's come in, the 12-volt socket doesn't work, and ever since he's owned the car, the radio don't work, so there's no sound coming out of any of the speakers. Either the speakers are blown or something like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the wiring diagram up, make sure that the lines from the radio to the speakers are hunky-dory. I'm going to start on the radio fault, and then I'm going to look at the 12-volt socket afterwards, because all in all, the speakers are a lot harder. So start with the hard thing first, work our way onto the easier one after that. So I'm going to get it up on the computer, show you what we're meant to have, and then I'm going to get in the car and show you what we do have. In a shocking new development, we've got no information on the car, so that's going to set us back at least a couple of hours. Something that we should look into doing is the week before we get all the cars in, we'll go through all of the registration numbers, because we take them down on booking, and see if we've got the information for what it's coming in for, because it does set us back about 2 hours. We do it for Volvos. We know that there is no information on all data or auto data for Volvo, so before the cars come in, we request the information. But what I'm going to start doing is looking at every car, because now I can't touch that one for 2 hours.
Right, so we're back on the 205 GTI. This is the barn find which we had in a few weeks ago. We stripped the immobiliser out. Customer had asked us to do that because it didn't have any of the fobs or anything, but it still didn't start. We just started running through it. We had no spark, no fuel pump, no nothing. So let's show you what we're finding, and we'll go from there. So this is an old school type system. It has got an ignition amplifier, ignition coil, distributor, obviously all that side of it. We'd actually found a volt drop to the pins on the ignition amplifier. We'd lost live to pin 4. As soon as we connected it up, it kept dropping down to about 3 or 4 volts. Found a bad connection down under the battery. That's brought all that back on. And yeah, so now that's working, it's sparking. We're not getting any fuel pump. So we know that this side's working now. So the way this works, distributor is basically a crankshaft sensor now. So distributor tells the ignition module what to do, fires a coil. Coil actually talks back to the relay and to the ECU. And then that tells the fuel pump that it's turning over, it's doing what it needs to do, start kicking in the fuel pump. Let's go back to the fuel pump relay, see if we've got our main powers, earths and outputs, and then, yeah, let's have a look at that. So this is your fuel pump relay. We've got our main power in, 12.8 volts. So, got an earth, that's all good. So, let's just test if it's given an output. We know this is the pin for the fuel pump. Let's see if we get anything on that when it's cranking. Yes. Right, so it is giving an output. So basically everything's working apart from the fuel pump. It could be out of fuel, but I can't hear the fuel pump. But because it's only coming on when you're cranking, maybe we're not hearing it. Fuel pump's under the back seat. So let's get the back seats up, have a look, see what we can see. Right, so managed to get to the fuel pump. We've got a good earth path, which is surprising. Crank it, and getting 9 volts to it, which is a bit of a bad battery, but yeah, about right. But if we put power to it, I don't know if you can hear it. So you can hear it banging, but there's no pump. So the fuel pump's stuck. So we're going to hold some power on it, give the tank a bit of a wallop, and see if that makes a difference. Right, so as you see, the fuel pump's stuck on it. We've tried knocking it, giving it a wet, put a good voltage to it, giving it a knock from underneath and on top. It's still not doing anything. It's just going dump and stopped. So feels like the pump seized up. This is going in for restoration now, so I assume a lot of that's coming out. Would have been nice to get it running, but it's probably going to be down to the customer to strip that out, get a new fuel pump in it, and go from there. Electrically, it's all okay now. We've got the spark. Fuel pump's fuel pump relay's kicking in, it's kicking it back to the fuel pump, but the fuel pump's obviously not spinning, it's never going to start. So I think that's going to be the end of it for this one. But yeah, what a nice old car. Barn find, it's sat around for 9 years apparently, so you can understand why the pump's probably gone rusty and stuck, and yeah, so yeah, when we get it running, well, when the customer gets it running, we'll send you a little video.
Right, so because I've had to request a load of information on the car, I'm going to do some basic checks for the 12-volt socket and obviously to the head unit, make sure we got everything that we know should be there. So instead of starting on the head unit like I was going to initially, I'm going to go to the 12-volt socket because we don't really need a diagram for that. I'm going to hook up the power probe, make sure we've got 12 volts to the socket, make sure that it's not earthing out inside of itself, which we see a lot and blowing the fuse. So I'm going to have a little gander at that, see what we got going on, and see what the fuse says as well. So I'm going to set this up and you guys are going to join me when I'm in the car. Right, so we've got a 12-volt socket in here. I'm just going to test to see if we've got 12 volt in there. We've got the earth. Ooh. The key in the bloody ignition. Right, so I'm going to test, we've got the earth. We've got the earth. And we've got 12 volt. Earth, 12 volt. That socket is working. So that's what the customer uses. So I'm going to go get my one and see if that works, because it could just be that his socket is broken itself. So I'll be back in a second with my 12 volt socket. Right everybody, so I'm here with a 12 volt socket connected up to the power probe. So this did come with an adapter. If you couldn't get to the battery, you can just plug it into the 12 volt socket. So I'm going to plug it in and see if it works. There's the... Oh, we should get a light on here. And there we go. We've got power and we've got earth. So that socket does actually work. So we're just going to let the customer know that he needs to get a new one of these. New little 12 volt socket adapter. And that's good to go. Didn't think it'd be that easy. And while I'm waiting for all the information to come in that I've requested, I'm going to have a look at the amplifier and make sure we've got everything we need there. And if we have, I am going to have to wait for the information. If not, we could go a little bit further while waiting. So I'll see you in a minute. Keep me oil in my lamp, keep me burning.
Right, let's talk about a bit of warranty work, eh? A customer's just contacted me, wants me to prove how Halfords fitting a battery as balls his car up. He said, I've gone to Halfords, they've fitted a battery, and since come out of there, it's got warning lights on, some coding's been lost, etc. And it's down to them, I need you to prove it. I was okay, so how did this fault occur? You drove up there with a good battery on there, and they just fitted one, and now the car's broken. No, battery was flat, woke up in the morning, lights flickering, we tried starting it, recovery firms come out, they've jump started it, we've managed to get it up there, they put the battery on and it's their fault. I said, so the battery going flat, shutting all your computers down incorrectly, trying to start it and having all your computers trying to start up with a bad battery and confusing themselves, and then having a jump start put on it, which is going to be some sort of surge. It is the known done thing, but you know, that's going to surge your system with all the systems on. You go to Halfords, they literally take your battery out, put it back in, connect it up the same way as every mechanic's ever done since a car's ever been built, but it's their fault. So yeah, it's got to be, innit? So how are you ever going to prove that? You know, if it's a software issue, if you shut your computer down at night and then your wife turns it on in the morning and it doesn't work, it's not her fault because she pressed the button, you know, it's just happened. So it is hard for the customers, you know, they do understand something happened at some point, but they're constantly looking at blaming people. So we haven't got the same, customer's pretty good. So we've had this BMW bike in, come in about 2 or 3 months ago, asked us to remove the alarm out of it. It wasn't running, come in a van, we got it out, stripped the alarm out, press the button, ticks over, lovely, does everything it does. No test driving, no nothing. that was our job done. Once we've taken the alarm out of it, make sure your indicators and everything work, start it up, and good enough for me, you know. So yeah, phoned him, said it's all done. Alarm's been removed. He's a nice enough fella. It's not an issue. But you kind of pick it up. I see him out there farting about with it, and I didn't really understand what he was doing, but he's starting it and mucking about. Then he's ridden off. Then he's phoned me up, said, yeah, the bike's not running right. I was, oh, right, okay. So no, it was all right before I brought it down to you. But it wasn't running before you brought it down to me. How do we know it was good? Well, it's always been okay. So I was like, okay, you know, run it back down, we'll have a look. We may have disturbed something, may have knocked a vacuum pipe off, so all the alarm run through this side of the bike. We may have knocked something. He said, no, I'm going away for a couple of months. His mum weren't very well, fine, you know. So he sorted all that out, brought it back in. And yeah, we're thinking, yeah, we possibly have done it. It's not an issue. Let's check it. So we've taken all the fairing back off, find out what's going on, and I'll show you what we found. So the first thing I felt was the throttle seemed to be sort of stuck open. Got a bit of resistance, but not going back on its own, etc. So again, we've come to the side what's sort of popping and banging, and your throttle, what's in there, is actually sticking open. I can pull it back. So as you're pulling the throttle open, it's sticking. So your throttle cable is all gaunched up. It's not moving, it's not pulling back. You can see it's all bound up in there, and if you move it back, it does go back. It's awful. So yeah, pull it open, and it just stays open. So what's happening is, because this is a twin, one side's opening, the other side's either staying open or not opening at the right time. It's fuel injected, so it wants to see the same amount going in each side. So this side's either getting too much air or not enough air. We sort of get the blame. He isn't blaming us, he is being pretty good, but in his mind, it's like, well, he went down there, had some work done, and now this fault's happened, when obviously I didn't make a throttle cable age overnight. So right, let's get back to the customer. Tell me, needs a throttle cable.
We're going to run a basic test, make sure we've got live and earth on one of them. To which I will assume probably going to be this one. So we've got the power probe. Let's give it a check. To which we do, but without knowing what all of these wires do, it's pretty pointless. I found the amplifier, it's all ready to go. I've literally just got to wait for some information to tell me exactly what I'm looking at on the wiring, and then we can go from there really, but there's not a lot else we can do at this point. So when I get some information in, I'll come back to you and we'll run some real tests, see what we got, see where it's going, see what's going on. Right, but I'll see you in probably about 2 hours, but for you, about 5 minutes. Right, so a new development in the Jaguar case. All data don't supply Land Rover and Jaguar information anymore, so we're a little bit stuck. I'm going to have a quick look online, see what I can find, if there's any diagrams online, but without that, there's not a lot we can do. But yeah, I'm going to have a look online, see what I can find, and I'll come back to you if I do find something. Even if I don't, I'll let you guys know what happened. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the diagram for the Jaguar. So, found it online on a forum. So this is the amplifier, and these 5 lines are for that plug that we tested earlier. So we've got the 2 lives, the 2 earths, and there's some sort of communication line. So we've got our main live and earth into the amplifier. It is looking like the amplifier itself has failed internally. So we've had a look online, they're about £100. So there's no point of us doing any more testing on it. We're going to call the customer up and see if he wants us to order a new part and go ahead with the work. Another job done.
We're back onto the T5 what we had in last week with a map sensor fault. Stripped all the battery out, got down to the ECU to see if we can see any chafed wires or anything like that. And it's not playing about. It did do it on road tests on us last week, but so what we're going to do, we're going to set up a graphing meter So let me just show you. We're going to set it up onto the main 5 volt of the sensor, because if it was the earth side dropping out, it would drop another sensor out. So let's show you this. Hold on. So this is the map sensor. This is your earth. And so pin 1's earth. Pin 2 is actually the temperature sensor. So if we was dropping earth, it would actually flag a code for your intake air temperature. So all we've got left is the 5 volt reference feed, or the 5 volt feed and the return. So this one's staying at 5 volts. Doesn't matter what we do, wiggle the wires or anything. And this one is staying at 1.9. So we're going to set up a graphing meter, set it up on the, I think we're going to set it up on the 5 volt. See if that drops away when we can manage to get the light on. So we'll have it all set up, ready for road test in the morning, and we'll go from there. So as you can see down there, we've actually back probed it straight into the sensor. We've run our wires up into the car, and yeah, all we're going to do, that's an extendable lead. So we'll go down the road, we'll set it up on a graph. So now we've got both ends of that there ready, and that'll be it done. So yeah, let's get that test drove in the morning. A little bit too late at night now. So we'll get that test driven. I'll show you what we find. So we're in a T5. We've got it set up on the graph. Got it set up on our graphing meter. This is securing 2. This is a dual channel voltmeter which we've got, multimeter. Cracking little bit of kit. It does mean that I can set it up, have it one side, so as long as I can see the engine light, see whether that's come on, and watch the voltage. So we're going to go and give it a road test. But so while we've got the graph set up, I thought we'd try out the Think Tool light. We're going to go into the engine. We're going to go into data stream. We know it's channel 11 for the boost sensor. There we go. So there's the pressure. And if we get it on, so you can see it on the graph. That's what we're looking at. It matches the multimeter. So if one of these doesn't pick it up, hopefully the other one does, and we'll see how we go. So yeah, Think Tool light, £1 a ticket. I will leave another link in the description. This is, I think these are $5.50 plus VAT. I think they were $4.95 when they come out, but they've just had a price increase. But yeah, cracking little tool. So don't forget to go and check that out for us. And I'm going to go and give this a road test, see what it does. Just gone back from road test. I've done about, I think it's 15 miles, and it glitched just coming into the estate. But it showed nothing on the graphing. It was just rising, exactly the same as the turbo was rising, and then just flatlined. The ECU said, no, we don't like that for some reason. Turn the turbo off. As soon as we turned it off, turn it back on, full power again. So something is just glitching. It's got an aftermarket sensor in it. So I think we're going to have to go for a new one. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know what to do with it, because it's not dropping any voltages. The readings are right, and it just got the amp. It's not overboost, not underboost. Just says that sensor's no good. So I only done it when it was warm. Tried it, and it wasn't boosting a lot, wasn't doing anything. So I don't know. We're going to have to try an aftermarket set. Going to have to try another sensor in it. And this one's going on to the next episode. 3 episodes, 1 van. All right, we're done. Good week, eh?
It was a good week other than Wednesday.
Yeah, so we struggled with a parking sensor fault. We started recording it. It turned into a nightmare. You know, I've fixed a bazillion parking sensor faults. They're all normally just one wire, but this is a limb bus wiring fault on a, what was it?
Suzuki SX4.
Yeah, so all data didn't have the wiring diagrams. It was a daisy chain type system into one, then out to the next one, out to the next one. we tested it for hours, went right the way through it, confirmed all the sensors. It was checking front to back, and there was no difference. Just
everything. On paper, it should have worked.
Yeah.
Everything was right.
Fault code said that the whole front of the sensors were out. It must go in, voltage goes into one, and when it's turned on by the LIN, that's when it sends power to the next one and the next one. So it's got to be a LIN bus fault. But we didn't have diagrams, we couldn't go much deeper. But it just seemed such a basic fault. We would have made more money just giving the fellow his deposit back, sending it out the door.
What did we lose, like 480 quid on that job?
Yeah, we end up losing, a lot of money on it.
But
Go on.
I got my first compliment on that job.
I didn't.
Yes, you did. I wrote it down. I got it on paper.
So considering it's a complicated system, I sort of worked out how the daisy chain worked, and if we had a short in one sensor, it wouldn't give the powers out to the next. While I was thinking it through, Barney, considering he's only been doing this about 15 minutes, was already on it. And he's like, yeah, if we just done this, done that, either disconnect that sensor, it'll prove where the short is, etc. So, yeah, he's definitely getting somewhere with it. But, yeah, I don't pay compliments. He's only allowed to have one a year. But it's coming up to Christmas, so he might get another one then.
Does it start in January?
I think so, yes, yeah, I reckon. So, Barney's had his first experience of spending hours and hours and hours and hours on a car where you can't charge for it, But again, we should have known to send it out. But some cars you think, oh, we'll be able to get to there. The next thing we check, it will be that, and it don't. So doesn't it?
We got desperate at one point.
Yeah.
We tested every sensor on every different plug in every different
Well, we
direction.
literally took all the front sensors off, connected them up to all the back sensors, and they all worked. Everything was right. All the voltages were right. All the readings were right from front to back. But the front ones, it just kept throwing codes up for. So it's not nice, is it?
It wasn't a fun day.
No.
I went home and cried.
Yeah. So, but that's in the past. We're moving on. We've got some more cars done. So we're going to start fresh next week. We've got a trade show next week. We're going to show a little bit of that. We've got a case study coming out tomorrow night. So that'll be hopefully good. Hope you like that. Do the old and like and subscribe. Do all that sort of gear. And thanks very much for watching. Sorry about him, but what?
I'm not allowed to swear, am I?
No.
It's very hard.
So, ta-da!
Ta-da!